The man who ate his victim's face has been acquitted. His legal team worked overtime to get this outcome, but is this justice?
The boy who believed he was a werewolf.
Lenox will see to it that justice is served. Full details at 11.
Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, Lenox Justifier of Innocence, created by Zeus and Demeter to save humanity. I'm here as the character Josephine, which is Lenox in her human form, and with me is Mr. Buddy, the guard dog, this cute little man right here. Now before we get started, for those of you who are returning to the channel, thank you so much for all of your support and for following along. And for those of you who are new, this is a fantasy justice channel where superheroes and mythological gods unite in the fight to save humanity. This channel is designed so that you can listen to it like an audiobook, or you can watch and enjoy the artwork, the dramatizations, and the images as they go along the screen like a picture book to help pique your imagination along the story. A lot of the topics that we cover are loosely based on real-world occurrences, and some may even trigger an emotional response, so we did want to forewarn you on that. Though we always try to have a positive outcome and learn something from the stories at the end, I did want to give you that disclosure. Now, all of the justice is carried out in fantasy and imagination and creativity. No one is actually getting hurt, and these characters are created based on friends of mine who I feel are superheroes in real life. Now, with that said, in today's story, we are going to be covering the second half of The Boy Who Thought He Was a Werewolf. Now, this is the second case in the mini-series of the rise of cannibalism. So it is quite a gruesome topic that I had come across my emails, and I wanted to dive into it a little bit and try to understand it. Now, we are going to have this be the last case in this subject because it is somewhat of a gruesome subject, and I personally, it's hard to fathom that these things can happen. So we took a look at two different cases from two different perpetrators from different backgrounds, and we're going to analyze it at the end and try to figure out what the root cause of these types of crimes is. So with that said, I hope you guys enjoy the show. Make sure you stay to the end so you find out what's coming next, because I'm gonna talk about Mr. Buddy's show as well. So we'll see you at the end. Enjoy the show. As Lenox prepared to go to the state hospital, Amalia continued researching the Harrouff case. During her research, she came across a Dr. Phil interview, along with an article with the family's reaction to this said interview. Lenox, you need to watch this. Dr. Phil conducted an interview with the perp. I don't know. I watched it several times. I don't know if it's the medication that he's on, but to me, his reaction seemed robotic, and the crying looked forced and fake. You can hear the father in the background making excuses for him, and minimizing the neighbor's injuries. He kept looking over to his father for approval of his answers, and whenever Dr. Phil asked more difficult questions, there was resistance to answer, along with looking over to the side to make sure he doesn't say the wrong thing. People have been perceiving it as a way to get sympathy for this perpetrator, in spite of his horrific acts in taking the lives of 2 innocent people and attempting the life on a third. I also watched the victim's statements in court. The victim's sister was ruthless in a good way, and she made a lot of good points. She shared the text messages that revealed the continuous drug use over the preceding year before the crime. He had also ingested chemicals in the garage that burned his esophagus, causing him to make the growling sounds, because he wasn't actually growling. It was revealed that he had purchased a knife prior to the incident, and that's what he used to initiate the attack. In their interview, he claims to not have a clear recollection of the crime. The fact that he is doing an interview on a televised Dr. Phil show is complete suspect. If he's truly mentally ill and that fragile, and just waking up a couple of weeks ago, why would he agree to go on television? This whole thing seemed very calculated. It appeared that he was prepped by a legal team, and his crying was absolutely awkward, like Amber Heard's performance during that defamation trial. It appeared very forced and fake. I agree, Amalia. Oh, I know. Disgusting. I also came across this article. Lenox, let me show you the article. This is the victim's son, and he responded to Dr. Phil's interview. I'm just going to give you the gist of it. I'm not going to read everything word for word, but John Stevens' son also believes that Dr. Phil's interview is a ploy to sway the jury, not to actually offer a confession of remorse. He states, it's in quotes, "The Harrouff, this family are disgusting. They have lost nothing, and for them to apologize, they have no idea what we've lost," John Stevens Jr. said from his home in Kansas. "If he wants to apologize to me, I will accept it when he submits himself to the legal system. Otherwise, he can go F himself." Stevens says that the community should be outraged for the family that is trying to peddle the young Harrouff as anything less than a killer. If I were a member of the community of West Palm Beach, I would take it very personally that this family is trying to re-inject this person back into the community. This could be anybody's parents, right? This could be anybody, Stevens said. It's all a lie. They've decided this is the legal strategy they need to go with in order to save their son. I'm going to stop there for a minute. And we all understand the impulse to want to save your children, but not holding them accountable for committing horrific acts isn't helping them. It's enabling them, in my opinion. If you want to help your child, help them by seeing the wrong of their ways and taking the measures to correct it. You don't help them by reinserting a violent criminal back into the community where he can hurt people again. I'm going to read on. The article goes on explaining the details of the interview, but we're going to skip over that and just go over the victim's son's statements. The victim's son states, "It's bull. I reject it. If Harrouff wants to apologize to me, he will abandon his legal strategy and submit himself to the justice system. He should get the death penalty, but that's not going to happen," Stevens Jr. said, who watched an interview with the prosecutor months before. He doesn't know what it is to sacrifice anything He is a 19-year-old entitled, angry white boy who did this because he didn't get his way that day. That is it. His apology is total bullshit. Neighbors along the Kokomo Lane say the interview makes them shake to know that this teen randomly picked the home of the Stevens, and it could have been any of them. When Dr. Phil asked Harrouff if he had any remorse, he began to cry, and it didn't look real to me, Stevens Jr. said. I believe it was crocodile tears. I believe he did it to gain sympathy. There's one part here in the article that I find extremely interesting, Lenox. Oh yeah? What is that? Well, we kind of missed this. I don't know if we didn't see it in the clip that we watched, but it says here that he claims he doesn't remember attacking them, but he remembers the neighbor yelling at him. So how is that possible? You either remember or you don't. Yeah, to me the whole thing sounds a bit far-fetched as far as his explanation and the loss of memory. I think he remembers quite well. And like I said, Amalia, if he doesn't remember, I shall remind him. He shall relive every detail of what he's done. The other thing I find really suspect about all of this is that the first time you talk after getting out of the hospital, you go on a talk show. Yeah. Another one chasing clout and notoriety. Starting to become a trend. Lenox made her way to the facility. When she approached, there he was sitting at a table. Lenox took a deep breath. She cleared her mind in order to be able to feel his emotions and reactions. When she entered the room, he looked up at her. With a look of confusion, he got up and began to look around the room. Sit. We're going to have a conversation. He began to mutter some words. Lenox silenced him. Sit, I said. He sat down, still in confusion. I am Lenox, Justifier of Innocence. I deliver justice for those who have been wronged by people like you. Then let down by our judicial system, I destroy and punish the evil. He looked terrified. You say you cannot recall the incident. Well, I am here to remind you of all that you have done. Only when you have lived through what you put your victims through can there truly be justice, true remorse. You will either repent, ask for forgiveness, and absolve the families of the pain you inflicted on them, or you will live eternity in the hell of your own creation. Before he could speak, Lenox put him in a trance. He was living through the horrific attacks on his victims, feeling all of the pain, all of the gashes, all of the fear. The emotional betrayal the families felt by the justice system. If he is truly sorry for his crimes, that he will not accept being set free into society once he is eligible. He will self-commit himself, unwilling to take the risk of ever injuring anyone, or worse, taking another life. Admitting his faults, his lack of judgment, his evil acts. For if left to his own, he knows he will probably not continue the medication as prescribed, making him more of a danger to society. As the perp felt all that he had done, all the pain he caused physically and emotionally to all of the victims, not just those whose lives he took, but the pain of the surviving families and the fear that he brought to the community. The victim's family began to feel a sense of peace come over them. The souls of the victims can now rest. knowing justice has truly been served. The perp has repented. He later admitted to the judge and the hospital staff that he should not be released. He even took it a step further by preparing a true apology to the victims and the families, concluding with his admission that he realizes he should not be released, knowing that he would be a danger to society and to himself. Lenox returned to the sanctuary. Amalia and Mr. Buddy were waiting to hear the outcome, but they noticed there was a heaviness about her. "This is a good outcome, Lenox. Why do you seem upset?" "I am pleased with the fact that he repented and is willing to do what our justice system failed to do so themselves. However, what concerns me is the fact that this judgment opened a gateway for this type of defense. The justice system as a whole needs an overhaul. There are too many contradictions, too much manipulation. People tried based on emotions instead of facts. It's a complete mess." "Yes, it is. But with each case, every time we can deliver justice, we send positive energy back into the world." "That is very true, Amalia. But we have to take it a step further. We have to look at these cases. This was evil on another level. These perps ate human flesh. When you compare them, what are their common denominators? I mean, we had Magnata, and here we have Werewolf Boy. Well, they both come from broken homes. Yes. They were both fame-mongering it to some extent. That is true. They both suffered from a form of mental illness. And they both did drugs and had a sense of entitlement. They had lack of structure in their upbringing. But when you look at the differences, I mean, they both came from completely different economic statuses. One from semi-wealth and the other one from complete poverty. What do you propose? I think, Amalia, that we need to get back to the basics. We need to support and encourage the family unit. We also need to bring back the war on drugs. I don't think people realize how the effect of drugs, even ones that are not synthetic or hardcore, have such an effect on these young minds that are not fully developed yet. People don't see. They think it's a game, like it's some joke. Oh, smoke a blunt. No, it is not. These drugs are altering these young people's brains. And as a result, they're committing crimes that they probably would normally not do. The combination of that, the lack of moral values, and the corrupt justice system, something's got to give. We need to change it. Where do we start, Lenox? We should start with the war on drugs. Do you remember when we were growing up that it wasn't cool to do any type of drugs? It was looked down at. It was secretive and dirty. We need to get back to that. Remember those commercials where they used to fry an egg in a frying pan and say, "Oh, this is your brain on drugs"? That's the message that we need to send out. Here we have all these movies, all these rap music, all this stuff that encourages the youth to partake in these type of activities. And everyone just laughs it off like it's funny, like it's a joke. It's not. You're corrupting young minds these kids don't have a chance of making it in the future. I mean, the world is hard enough. Never mind killing your brain cells on the way. We'll start there, and then we're going to go change the judicial system. We're going to have to disassemble it and reassemble it in a way that will better suit the needs of the public as a whole. Those are great ideas, Lenox. I'll get the crew together and we'll get going on this. Okay, Amalia. I'll see you later. Thank you guys so much for staying till the end and watching. That is going to conclude this mini-series titled The Rise of Cannibalism. I hope that you all were able to get something out of it and, you know, learn a little bit about these particular types of crimes and their warning signs. Now, the next storyline is going to be based on dangerous friend groups. So I'm going to dive into some cases based on that. That's going to be the next mini-series. So you'll want to make sure you stay tuned for that. And also, just to give you a little update, as I had told, for those of you who have been following along, you know that this is a series, and the second book will be coming out in about 5 months. It's going along nicely, so that should be out in like 5 months. And as soon as it is, I will let you know when and where you can go ahead and get yourself a copy. Now, also with Mr. Buddy's show, we just put out a video last week, and that showed their process of making the music. So you'll want to come back and make sure you watch his video this week. It should be out. I try to get it out by either Saturday or Sunday so the kids can watch it over the weekend. Super cute. It's cute for the kids, very kid friendly, but it's also really funny for adults. So you guys can go and enjoy that and sing along with the music. The other thing that I wanted to say is how we were discussing it in the end of this case, you know, some of the topics. If you guys have any ideas or have suffered any injustices, please feel free to email me or comment below, and I will research and I will come up with a storyline just for you and get you some fantasy justice. So you can go ahead and my email is in the description. You can click on that and you can email me as much detail as possible, and I'll get working on that for you. The other thing that I wanted to tell you is somebody was asking about, they noticed that I click on this. This is actually a really good tool if you make any videos or you do anything with social media, or even just taking photos with your friends and family. It's called the click ring. One of my clients produces this and distributes it and had given me a few samples, so I used the pink one mostly because I love pink. So yeah, it's fantastic for running the camera because I don't have to get up, I don't have to like go up and, you know, manually press any buttons or hold a remote, and it's really inconspicuous, very convenient. So you can go check that out. It's called Click Ring. You can, you know, get yourself one or two, and it comes with like a little stand. I don't use that because, you know, I use the ring light and have like a little studio setup. But if you're out and about, you can, you know, put it on the little stand, and it's convenient for taking photos when you're out with your friends or family, just having fun. So I hope that answers that question, and I'll put the information below. If you have any other questions, you can just look it up. And I hope that you guys are having an amazing week. I hope that this new year is treating you right. I do have some changes coming. So you will be seeing the new costume for Lenox. It's almost complete. I'm putting the final details on her new mask, as well as some of the other characters. So that is going to be coming next. And I can't wait till it's all done. It's coming together very nicely. So they're similar concept as far as the look of the costumes, but just a lot more upgraded and, you know, a little bit like constructed better so that we can do better scenes for you going forward. So you'll have that to look forward to. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you in the next video. As always, take care of yourselves, take care of your kids, and God bless.